All right, guys, so here it is, man. In the last video, we found out that the new KX60 I bought has a locked up lower end, I think. I have some plans with that. I'll kind of go in further detail a little later in the video. But as of right now, we're gonna jump out here, man. You can already see I've been swapping green parts off of this bike and putting on what was the yellow bike. So I went back and ripped everything back apart again. Excuse me. I'm gonna take this piston and I'm gonna put it on this bike, right? And then we're gonna swap a few more parts out. I'm gonna set y'all down and just run through it real quick. And we're gonna see if we can't get this thing rolling again today. After that, I'll kind of go through what my plans are with what the new bike is gonna do or may do. And then that'll be what's up. So y'all just sit back and relax, enjoy the content, and let's get this thing popping. So I'm looking at this wrist pin bearing. It looks pretty good, but I believe I'm gonna run the old one that came out of the yellow bike. And then this piston, I mean, this thing's brand new. It does have a little scarring like I showed you in the last video, but man, let's be honest, dude, it's not that bad. I think I'm gonna run this one in the new bike. So let's get some, I got some 2-stroke oil here, just some Super Tech. We're gonna lube everything up and go back with it. Hopefully we can get something going. All right, man, so we got our 2-stroke oil. We got the piston off the green bike, right? The new one that I bought. We're gonna put it on the yellow bike, which I know I already put the green fender on here, but we are gonna swap plastics. That's at a later date. Now, let me get this bearing. So this is the bearing that came off the new bike, the one I just got yesterday. And this is the one that actually came off of this bike when I took it apart. So we're gonna use this bearing and I'm gonna save this one. You gotta remove the gloves for this, gentlemen. And I do also have a pan here to catch my fluid. I don't wanna just be pouring oil all over everything. And I also did check my fitment here, right, over my wrist pin, like so. And then it came out of this rod, so we know it'll fit in there. So the first thing I wanna do, just take a little bit of oil here. Watch out, buddy. I wanna make sure that that's got plenty of oil on it, right? And then we're just gonna slide it in here. Just like so. Get a little oil on there, don't matter. So the second thing is, first thing you want to note is you have your exhaust port, right? There's an EX with an arrow that's gonna point towards the front of the bike, right? You want it pointed towards where your exhaust pipe's gonna hook up. Then we're just gonna put a little bit of oil on this. You're gonna pull that pin all the way out. We want to lube it up all the way. Slide it in a little bit. Make sure your exhaust arrow's forward. And then just like that. make sure to push your pin all the way through. If you're gonna use a screwdriver, just be gentle, right? It should just slide right in there. Exhaust port down or forward of the bike. I dropped my little C-clamp, so make sure they're clean before you put it back on there, no dirt. And then this is where it gets kind of tricky because you got to get it to set in there and then pop it in. Sometimes you get lucky, you do it with needle nose. Sometimes you don't get so lucky. The biggest thing you want to keep is you don't want it to fall down in your engine. That's like super vital. See if we can't get this bad boy lodged in there. They put that little cut in your piston for a reason. Whatever you do, do not let that thing fall inside your engine, guys. And it is kind of tricky. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. It is tricky. Because you got to get it and hold it on there like that. You get it in there like that, just make sure it pops in all the way, right? You'll see it clicked. Once it clicks, it's in there. Make sure it stayed seated. Voila, man. It is a little tricky. You do have to get the right angle to it, but it's in there, right? And it's all the way around. Here, I'll show y'all. See, it's popped all the way in now. So, perfect. Now, we're gonna lube up this piston, and then we're gonna see about getting this cylinder set back on here. All right, so we have the cylinder head, or the cylinder, right? Now, I already put my gasket on there. We're gonna reuse the one that was on it. I mean, it looks really good. Let's be honest, it looks really good. So we're gonna use the one we got. I gotta get a little bit of this 2-stroke oil, right? I'm just gonna put it on my hands. Like so. And then we just wanna make sure this is good. Got plenty of oil on it, right? And then we wanna do the same thing. We don't want it on there. All right. So now that we have our piston lubed up, our rings lubed up, it's important. You want, I mean, it's metal to metal, it's important. So we're gonna get a little more. We're gonna do the inside of the cylinder, right? You wanna do the inside of your cylinder too. You want a little bit of oil in there. Just put a little more on your hands. Just give it a go. And for me personally, when you're lubing up the inside of your cylinder, go ahead and put a little bit on here. I mean, that's got to slide down into your engine right in here. So you might as well get a little bit of lube in there also. And then here's the fun part. So let's see how well this is gonna work. So move my pan here. Now we want to make sure that our rings are pretty much lined up with the pins. You got pins inside that piston. Oh, here we go. Well, let's see what we got. All right, give me 1 second. We'll get that head, we'll put on there and see what we got. See if it rolls over freely. So we got to run these in and down so that we can see if it'll roll over freely. See if we can hear any kind of compression. Should have probably put a little bit of lube on them dowels. A little late for that. On that note, just run it down star pattern. Right, probably just definitely do your dowels. Right, run them down the same. Once you run them down the same, you'll be all right. Like I said, we're not tightening it down. We're just snugging it to see what we got. See, just like that. And then I'll just take the kickstart off that other bike, slide on here real quick, see where we're at. Oh, hang in there, baby, you fading. There we go. Just snug. Kickstarter off the other bike. Let's see what we got. Ooh, that feels good. I think that's a go. So I gotta take this back off, put my head gasket back on there. We're gonna bolt everything back down. We're running with the new spark plug because the old one is a BR9ES, and it is supposed to be a B9EG. So that's a bonus. That means that all of our struggles getting them rings set around there right and lined up with them holes are good, because if it wasn't, I don't think it would roll over so freely. So with that, I got to rip this off. We got to put our head gasket on here, and then I believe we are in business, gentlemen. All right, so we know everything's in there good, looks good, piston runs good, it's the right direction. So I need to look at something though, because I'm seeing something I don't really care for here. You see how that's centered? In my last video with the new KX, if you realize that piston was not centered like that. So that is the correct piston for this bike. Right, that's an important deal. So we're gonna use the same head gasket that I pulled off the bike whenever I first bought it. Right? Just wanted to clean that off. It's in decent shape. I think it'll hold until I can get some in the mail. This is what we're gonna go with. So we're gonna set it down. If you look at it, right, the tab goes with the tab right there. Line your dowels up. Be gentle. It's a graphite gasket, right? It's not a steel gasket or anything like that. It's a graphite. I got to get my head bolts. So I am going to use the original head bolts that also came out of this bike. I'm trying to use everything as original as I can that came out of it. It just seems like the thing to do. Get those all started. There we go. There's the baby's pappy. So we're gonna run through this real quick. I'm just gonna bolt this down. I gotta put the other head back on the other bike over there. You see it sitting over there, right? And then I gotta go run and pick up 2 new tires for this thing. Like I stated in my other video, I found a couple tires for 50 bucks, brand new, for a set. Can't beat it. All right guys, so I got them all closed up at least. Top end back on the new bike. No piston in it, but we got the top end on so we can close it up, put the kickstart back on. So we have changed the piston, put a gasket underneath the cylinder, put a gasket underneath the head. I still got to torque the bolts down. We changed the plug out. I'm gonna take the reeds out of here that are rusty and pitted, and then use the ones that come out of that bike. In here, we have a new intake. I have to clean the carburetor. I need to put the water pump back on. So, now that you've seen us take this out of the KX60 that's locked up, we're gonna put it in the one that's not. I cleaned it off with carburetor cleaner. Do not clean it off with brake part cleaner. Make sure it's carburetor cleaner or air intake cleaner. It's less harsh on the reeds. With that, we're gonna sit here. It should dry pretty quick. We're gonna let it air out for a minute, and then we're gonna put it back together. I gotta pull the clutch cover off. We gotta get the gasket material off, put some gasket material on there, torque down the head and the cylinder, put our water pump back on, run some oil through here. So let's pull this cover back off and get this gasket material off of here. So with this, I'm just gonna go old school scraper, get the gasket off, use some gray RTV, ultra gray for a gasket maker. It's how I used to do it back in the day when I was younger. We're gonna get it sealed up. So we got us a piece of sandpaper, 2000 grit, right? Just go through and polish your surface. But before you put your ultra gray on your case, you're gonna put a thin coat. Get you your same carburetor cleaner and spray it on a rag, right? Like so. And then go around that surface. clean that surface off real well. You want that gasket maker to stick to it. Simple as that. Make sure to clean your dowel pin and your hole out right there. So we're gonna jump over here. We're gonna do a thin layer right around here also, kind of on the edge, and then we're gonna bolt it up. So that's a little time consuming, but once you get it done, you might get a little bit like that on your parts. Just clean it off, man. Right, the stuff on the outside of the case, once it dries, you can get a razor and peel it right off of there. It's just you don't want this stuff here. So, with that, guys, I mean, we're about to stick this case back on there. Just trying to get all that off I can. I don't think it's gonna hurt too much. But once again, like I said, why risk it? So, let me get this case. Got the case, it's all done up. So do not forget your bearing and your push pin with your washer. It's got the washer on there. Right, it sits in there just like that. You got to try to get it to stay in there. It's a chore. And then here we go. Try to line everything up. You got RTV on everything. See, you gotta be careful. This thing will fall off of there, man. Gotta try to be patient and get it on there one shot. So, as they say, the third time is a charm. We're gonna find out. We are going to find out. So that would be key there if it'll stay like that. Come on, baby. I think we lost it again. Came out again. That phone won't stop going off. know, guys, it's just gonna fight me all the way, I guess. I wonder if it's that dowel pin. Well, I can get the front to seal up, but that back ain't wanting to go on there. Hold on. So we got it all bolted back up, but we have another issue. Let me show you. See that? And then it goes way too far forward. So we're gonna wrap this video up here. We'll jump into it next weekend. I gotta get ready for another week of work. So with all that, dude, I'm glad y'all stuck around. Watch what I had going on. I'm your boy, Ride Fast and Live Careless, and we'll catch you on the next one.